It's what everyone in Big Red Country has been waiting for. Spring in Nebraska. Warmer temps, flowers blooming, and Husker football. This year, there'll be a lot of new faces. Coach Mike Riley taking the field for the very first time in Memorial Stadium. It's the Husker Spring Game coming up next. Spring has sprung in Lincoln, Nebraska. Everything old is new again. And 70,000 Husker fans, they are here to bear witness. Memorial Stadium is buzzing, and with good reason. This afternoon, a first look at a brave new world. It's the 2015 Nebraska Red-White Game. So glad you could join us on a Saturday afternoon from Lincoln alongside my partner Damon Benning. I am Eric Collins. It was 128 days ago that Mike Riley was announced as the new Husker head coach. And Damon, it's fair to say it's been 128 days of smiles.
Yeah, it has. It's been rainbows and butterflies, but as the kids at home like to say, it's about to get real. Some people call it a sickness. Some people call it an infatuation, but around here, it's just spring ball at the University of Nebraska.
Now, spring football is going to look a lot like real football. We're going to have actual hitting today. We're going to see tackling all the way to the ground. In total, we will have a running clock with 4 20-minute quarters. Teams divided into red and white, and don't be alarmed, some players actually may move from that red team to the white team and vice versa. Well, the guys presiding over the action, watching and see how these guys are progressing. The new coaching staff, you see there's a lot of guys who have come from Corvallis, Oregon, with Mike Riley here to Lincoln.
Absolutely. As we take a look, the head man here in Coach Riley brings back 2 quality coordinators. Danny Langsdorff, who has been affectionately dubbed the quarterback whisperer. He's in charge of leading a consistent offense. That's what the fans want to see. And then his counterpart, I guess I should say, on the defensive side today will be Mark Banker. He is the defensive coordinator that is known for what we call a spill defense. He wants to be aggressive and play fast. You stop the run en route to the quarterback for Coach Banker.
Well, lest we forget, last year there were some real positives. Nebraska finishing with 9 wins, but the problem area, tail end of the season, they finished the season with losses in 3 of their last 4 games, including the Holiday Bowl loss against the USC Trojans. All right, spinning it forward now. The third member of our crew is Larry Putney. Moments ago, he caught up with the man of the hour.
Thanks very much, Eric. Here with first-year Nebraska head football coach Mike Riley. Your first taste of a Memorial Stadium atmosphere. What do you think?
This is awesome. You know, it is a place where people obviously care a lot, and every game, whatever's going on, is an event. And I guess the spring game just epitomizes that. You know, because we're still preparing, we're still practicing, and there's going to be, I don't know how many people here today, but there's a good crew.
With this kind of atmosphere and passion comes expectations. What do you believe those expectations to be, and how do you meet those?
Oh, you know, everybody knows the expectations at a place like this are to compete and win on a national level. So, you know, you don't get into this without that. Our expectations every year, though, in football are to win all the games and do everything that we possibly can. And so we're excited about the opportunity to get to do that at the University of Nebraska.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, let's do this. The weather's cooperating, 68 degrees and sunny. We will get it started in just a moment. The 2015 Nebraska Red-White Game. Love Nebraska? Make it official. Join the Nebraska Alumni Association today at HuskerAlum.org. Getting ready to get started here in Lincoln. And some traditions, well, they never change, even for the spring game. Moments ago, the tunnel walk. Hundreds, thousands of Huskers over the years have done that. Damon Benning, you once did that for 5 years of your college experience.
It's a feeling like no other. The ability to walk the tunnel, you touch the horseshoe, and you're embraced by those that sleep, eat, and take in Nebraska football.
Well, if you sleep, eat, and take in Nebraska football, you're really going to enjoy the next couple of hours. We're going to get that first look at what this new look Husker team is going to be all about. New philosophy, new guys in charge, new players coming in. And it all is going to be coming up from the vision of Mike Riley, a 61-year-old product of Bear Bryant's Alabama Crimson Tide back in the early 70s. He's been all over. He's been a professional coach in Canada, the World League of American Football. He was the coach of the San Diego Chargers, and for many, many years, a known quantity out in the Pac-10 and Pac-12 with the Oregon State Beavers. But now his first go-around in the Big Ten and here at Nebraska with the Cornhuskers, and so far so good. He has made a wonderful first impression.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. He's what we call very engaging, and he's disarming. He's been like an open book, and I think he's been something that the fans can gravitate towards. So we'll see what happens. You still got to win games, but if you rank the start, he's off to a good one.
Now, an inauspicious start to our spring game. The ball gets blown off the tee. Wind may be a slight factor today. No one's going to complain when you've got temperatures in the high 60s and nothing but sun, but there is a bit of wind.
Yeah, for those, don't adjust your televisions at home. This is just a scrimmage, but with 80,000 plus, you might want to adjust the television.
It's going to be Spencer Lindsay kicking it off. Last year's kickoff specialist Mauro Bondi is still with the program, but it's going to be Lindsay putting toe to leather. Spinning kickoff. It's going to be fielded at the 5-yard line. This is Newby on the return. He's been around for a while. Nice spring so far for Terrell Newby. He is going to stay on the field more than likely and get the lion's share of the carries early for this red team.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting philosophy. This is not going to be one of those scrimmages where you try to get guys in and get guys out. They're full well into the evaluation period, and they haven't had a lot of live work. So you'll see guys go well in to the fourth quarter in this one. It is not equal opportunity for those trying to win a job today.
You know, the red team, for the most part, if you can generalize, is the first stringers and a lot of the second teamers as well. But there are guys playing on different sides of the ball, so you can't read too much into the red and the white. But there is two-year starting quarterback Tommy Armstrong Jr. under center to begin the game, and he hands it off to Newby. First carry of 2015 red-white game.
Yeah, if there's a guy, there's been no real separation Saturday yet, as they're only scrimmaging in the spring. But if there's a guy that they feel is the closest to being complete, it's Terrell Newby.
We should point out that the first three receivers that came out with the red team, familiar names: Brandon Riley, Jordan Westerkamp, and of course last year's breakout star DeMornay Pearson-L. And again, that three-receiver formation, and Armstrong Jr. sets up a little bit of an inside screen. Doesn't fool too many guys. It'll bring up a third down. What are you excited to see from Tommy Armstrong Jr. this afternoon, Danny?
Well, I think for me, it's something that I don't know how visible it will be to those at home, but it's his poise and his presence. He's the guy that's, for whatever the reason, been a little bit under the gun. You always hear about the next guy here at the University of Nebraska. This spring, it's been A.J. Bush. It's been Zach Darlington. So for Tommy, it will be to stay within himself for this scrimmage.
You know, when the coaches do talk about Armstrong Jr., a lot of it has to do with his confidence level, with his experience level. But how well that translates into this new offensive system is yet to be figured out. Skill set wise, Armstrong Jr., how does he fit into what Langsdorf and his guys want to do on the offensive side?
Well, they like his size and they like his ability to get busy with his legs. He's got a big arm, and he's what Coach Riley called yesterday in our meetings a very natural thrower. He likes to watch fluidity of motion. So when he was talking to us about Tommy Armstrong, he said he's very easygoing with throwing the football. Now, with that comes he's going to need to adjust his velocity a little bit and his touch. That's been the thing. We've heard it all spring. It's touch, and it's the ability to check down. We'll see how he responds today.
And these are the other guys in the mix. We're going to see a lot of A.J. Bush. He is technically on the white side. Zach Darlington, both Bush and Darlington redshirt freshmen. Riker Fife has been around for a while, and Johnny Stanton trying to resurrect that rising star from a year ago.
Bush will probably be the first quarterback that will change jerseys. We'll see him with the red as well.
So after the timeout and a chance to talk to the coaching staff, Armstrong again out of the gun. And they keep it on the ground, and barreling forward for a first down is Newby. Are we surprised that it's been newbies so far right out of the chute as opposed to Amani Cross?
A little bit, I think, to some degree. But what happened is when you get a new staff, you get a tendency to get a clean slate. And they had the luxury of watching game film, what happened a year ago, and then you get a chance to see bodies live. And with that, they feel like newbies' game is pretty complete.
One thing that I took note of when we had a chance to talk to the staff yesterday is they'd be very happy having one guy carry the ball majority of the time. They don't necessarily need 7 or 8 guys carrying the ball. There's Westerkamp, his first catch of the spring game. He's been doing that for 3 years now. Armstrong and Westerkamp, good buddies on the field.
Yeah, you take a look at the replay here. Watch the mechanics, the good square shoulders, and there's that rocket of an arm as he tosses out the 12-yard out route on the move. Something I think Nebraska fans, not too quick to fall in love. You got to show me, but on the first throw, well done getting squared.
Armstrong completing just 53% of his passes a year ago. Did pass for a decent amount of yards, but the completion percentage was not what the previous coaching staff would have loved. Speed sweep coming on the left end, and again, an opportunity for Pearson L to show what he can do in the open field.
Yeah, he's the guy that they raved about in our coaches meetings a year ago. A very familiar formation to those that watch practice. It's one in which they like to run the sweep out of, and it's a timing play. You might recognize it, but it's on you so quick, it's up to you to react. And Pearson L, his ability to get vertical in a hurry.
Did you see Andy Janovich doing what he does? Just getting out ahead.
he's a monster. I'm familiar with him at the high school level, and I've watched him early on in his career. He will hit whatever moves. You'll have no problems with that.
Westerkamp, the man in motion. They fake it to him. The inside handoff goes to Newby, and Newby, his best run of the afternoon. Newby looking a little bit like Amir Abdullah.
Yeah.
All the way down to the 18.
I really like the concept of this play. You get the fly sweep motion to give you the hint of misdirection. But watch Newby stay onside with his crease to the right of the center because Flo is going with fly motion. Good disciplines, good patience, great vision by Terrell Newby. Well designed. Watch T. Armstrong get down the field and throw a block here. Not afraid. Good size.
So inside the red zone. Opportunity to see what the offense may look like this year when they get close to the goal line. And again, Newby an opportunity. Just flipping the script a little bit. We're talking so much about the offense and the backs and the receivers and the quarterback. Some questions need to be answered about the linebacking core on this year's team. So we're going to be watching the linebackers both on the white side and on the red side to see who steps up.
Not a deep unit in terms of scholarship numbers, but they've got some top-end talent that I think has to finally show through. We've been waiting. Now you've got an opportunity. Guys like Dedrick Young, guys like Marcus Newby that you know can run and play. You're going to get a healthy Michael Rose-Ivy back. And then Banderas, who's perhaps playing with the most confidence, is going to be the man in the middle.
Jamal Turner is on the field for the first time, getting a do-over on his senior year after injuries a season ago. First carry for Byerson Cockrell. I apologize, that's Adam Taylor. Yes, Adam Taylor.
Yeah, from Katy, Texas. A lot was expected of this young man. He redshirted his first year, then broke his ankle a year ago. Has not had any real contact for quite some time.
Taylor stays in next to Armstrong Jr. And again, Taylor an opportunity. He scores easily.
That's a great drive.
Little G scheme.
That's an outstanding drive. A good confidence builder right there if you're Nebraska. And take a look at the guy. Now, I tweeted this earlier, so I don't want to back pat, but there's a lot left to go. But watch Paul Thurston. He's a guy that has had an outstanding spring. He's playing center. He's grown up a little bit. And you watch him get out and pull on this outside zone. Watch 55 lead the way. That's a center for those of you watching at home. Good activity, good footwork. If I'm a tailback, I want to find that guy, get my hand on his hip.
So a good start for the red team. Touchdown scored by Adam Taylor, trying to come back from an ankle injury a year ago. With 14:42 remaining in our first quarter, let's head down in the field and check in with Larry Putney. Larry.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. I'm here with former Nebraska quarterback Prince Amukamara, now with the New York Giants. A little bit of a reunion down here for you and some of your old teammates, and you look like a fan down here taking pictures. Talk about this environment.
Spring game is always a great environment. It's like a game. It's like a game here, and the fans always show a lot of love, and a lot of performers like to come back. So that's one of the reasons I like to come back.
You've come back. You've had an opportunity to meet with some of the new coaching staff. What do you think?
Yeah, I got the opportunity to meet Coach Riley. Coach Riley was very welcoming and very hospitable, and one of the things he told me was that this place is more mine than his. So just the humility that he shows me, it's always great to see a new coach have that. And I've heard people speak volumes about him. So I'm glad to have him here in Nebraska.
So, final questions about you. First of all, the bicep injury halfway through the season, you missed the second half. How are you feeling, and what do you think about the Giants' upcoming season?
Man, yeah, the bicep injury was tough. I was having one of my best years, had 3 picks in 8 games, and that was just a little setback, but I should be full speed by the time OTA start on the 20th, and I'm excited for us this year as a unit with how Odell Beckham arised as a rookie, and I know the sky's the limit for him, and if we could get Cruz back, we're going to be an unstoppable force on offense.
You were telling me Beckham's pretty easy to cover. Hey, thanks.
Very funny. I did not say that, but it's going to be a battle with me and him in training camp. I'm excited.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. A little bit of fear right there. No, don't tell him I said that. No, Beckham's the real deal. On the return, Leroy Alexander gets a chance to touch the football. I've been to a lot of these spring games, and generally it's a fun atmosphere. Guys get a chance to come back. But I would say that probably more so than any other school that I've been to, Cornhusker players come back in droves.
Yeah, it's like one great big happy family. Guys just get along. There's so much, respect for those that have been there and done that. A lot of these guys grew up wanting to be like the next guy, so it makes good sense.
All right, all eyes right now on the white team quarterback, number 6, A.J. Bush. He's a left-hander, and they designed the rollout to the left side to get him comfortable. And his first pass is complete, so off to a good start.
Well, you have no idea. There's a couple of things in that. Not only does A.J. Bush complete his first pass, he's the guy that a lot of people want to see, but a tight end was the recipient of that pass.
Jared Blum, yes.
Been a lost start.
Coaching staff saying tight end is going to be in a very important position on the 2015 team. We'll see who steps up. Gain of 8 on the first pass by Bush. How has Bush looked to you? You've been to the majority of the practices this spring.
I think he's been outstanding thus far. I think, you obviously want some experience, but you take a look at his size, his arm strength. He's got this quiet confidence, and he's a student of the game. He had 6'4" and 200 and some odd pounds. He's the guy on the roster that's not like the others in terms of size and athleticism.
Just handed it off a moment ago to Amani Cross. Cross, obviously a ton of experience the last 3 years playing on the white team this afternoon. They give it to him again. No, design quarterback keeper. And really close to the first down marker goes Bush. There is a flag down on the field.
Yeah, he's a load as we take a look at the penalty. I think we're going to get a hold on the backside there as Cockrell on the stop. A little slow to get up.
Offense for 83. 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
Jared Blum has had a little bit of a roller coaster here the first drive. He gets an 8-yard catch. Now gets caught for holding on the edge.
Yeah, he's got the hands just outside there, and then it's the ill-advised grab on one Michael Rose-Ivy.
I would imagine the coaching staff is going to focus more on the hold from Blum than on the catch he made a moment ago.
Absolutely. Going to stay in the positive.
So passing situation now for Bush. Little check down. And Cross refusing to go down. Brought down about 5 yards to go before he reaches the marker. Big picture stuff in terms of quarterbacks and understanding a new offense. Obviously a young guy in A.J. Bush, just a redshirt freshman. How far behind the 8 ball would he be from Tommy Armstrong Jr. in terms of picking up a new offense?
Well, if you're Tommy Armstrong, it's probably closer than you want it. But if you're A.J. Bush, you still got a lot of work to do. He's so athletic and he's so talented. But the thing that we're missing is he's the guy that we saw throwing on his own yesterday on an off day. His ability to want to get better is what we haven't been able to measure, but we know it's at a high level. So if you're Tommy Armstrong, you got to continue to do what you do without checking your rearview mirror. And if you're A.J. Bush, you got to continue on the come.
You can see that Sam Foltz has got something on that helmet. There's a reason for that. This coaching staff has brought in this idea of these little small GoPro portable cameras that have been put on players throughout the course of spring, and that gives the coaching staff a better look at what the players are actually seeing. And another booming punt. Man, this Foltz has been terrific this spring.
This is a house call.
Pearson L. A lot of green in front of him. And Foltz brings him down with the GoPro on.
I tell you what, and Foltz, that's no accident. He's a great athlete. I tell you what, they better figure out with that GoPro is don't kick to that guy. As we take a look at the replay, watch him see the crease and be the crease. Now, I don't know, Eric, you might have been able to skirt through.
No.
And then Foltz, he's a good athlete. Watch him with the double leg takedown. They'll be talking to DPE about that one in the locker room. You can't allow punters to double leg you. Well, I tell you.
Pearson L. with 3 punt return touchdowns a year ago, but the punter brings him down.
Boy, Robert Kokish, a champion wrestler, would have been happy with that tackle. Double leg takedown in the open field. Come on, DPE.
All right, second offensive possession for the guys in red. Tommy Armstrong Jr. out of the gun. Newby back in the game. Throws that dead leg. Gets down to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, I'm tough on the RBs. You want to see him put that one. Watch him put his left foot in the ground. Look at Thurston doing work up front. You want to see him, that move right there, get vertical. You got the first dead leg, then get back vertical. You left a few yards on the field, but that's a way to put yourself in a first and manageable here as you get inside the 20.
Another chance to evaluate that offensive line, a work in progress. A lot of graduations and injuries have affected things. The only guy guaranteed right now of being a starter is the left tackle Alex Lewis, the number 71. Armstrong has a man. A little bit too strong, looking for Brandon Riley again.
I tell you what, Riley is he is very athletic. The DB's found out in a hurry. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. He'll climb on your toes and be Louisiana by you in a second. He can flat out run.
There's the big guys up front, that offensive line trying to gel together and see who steps up here in the spring.
I like the nice little short set in the punch. The one thing that Coach Cavanaugh talked about is he really would like for these bigs to start to be aggressive again, to really punch and be able to have good hands.
Another quick hitter, and Westerkamp is mugged. Ball is loose. I'd assume that's a dead ball. Looked like an incompletion. Is it going to be ruled a lateral?
That's got to be an incompletion. And you saw number 2 right there in white making a play. They're going to call that a fumble? Was that picked? That never. Hey, leave that guy alone right there. See that, how the deuce got loose as we take a look at the replay here. He smells it. Watch him jump it. Yep, that hit the ground. Leroy Alexander is a guy with starts under his belt. He was suspended a year ago, but a Sunday type talent back there in the secondary. He's your classic runner hitter. He's had a chance to really study the game. This young man could easily be wearing a red jersey. He's a player.
So the red team stays on the field offensively. It's 3rd down and 10.
How'd you make out last night, Doug? Same old, same old.
Westerkamp and Pearson L. top of your screen. Pass sails high, looking for Brandon Riley. Let's head down sideline and check in again with Larry Putney. Larry.
Thanks, Eric. Down here with former Husker offensive lineman Jeremiah Searles. Jeremiah spent last season with the San Diego Chargers on the practice squad for a while. Called up late in the year, got your opportunity on national television. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, just got an opportunity to come and help the team and try and make a playoff run, which we didn't get a chance to, but got some great experience and hopefully set a good platform for going into this next year.
So you've been to a few practices this fall. Talk about the offensive linemen and what you've seen in practice and what you've seen from offensive line coach Mike Cavanaugh.
Yeah, I think that, they had a lot going on. A big change in coaches, a big change in coaching philosophies. So, it's been tough for them. But I went to the very first practice, and then I also went to some of the ones towards the end. They made a ton of strides. Guys like Alex Lewis look like he's going to be a solid guy to hold down there. Ryan Reeves, and I'm excited. Zach Stirrup looks like he got really big in the offseason, so I'm excited to see what he's going to look like when he gets back. And then some young guys, too. Gerald Foster looks really well. Then I think Chongo can make a run at some starting time this year as well.
I saw you standing over there with 4 of your former teammates, all playing professional ball now. What was that conversation like?
Well, it's been great. We've all actually been working out here together. At one point, there was 6 of us all working out. It was myself, Spencer Long, Marcel Jones, Yoshi Hardrick, and Matt Slauson. And then Jake Cotton and Mike Mowdy were there working out. So, I mean, we had a really good crew that were all together working out. And it's just fun. I mean, we all kind of grew up here in a sense. And to come back and see it and remember, it wasn't that long ago that we were just doing this.
Jeremiah, great to see you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Larry, thanks so much. Well, the new offensive line coach is Mike Cavanaugh. We had a chance to ask him about his philosophy in dealing with big guys.
Yeah, he does not want to see guys.
Take pride in coaching technique, you know, and how you block and execute to me is really big. And, you know, along with that, I'm going to coach you pretty hard, obviously. And I kind of have that philosophy, coach you hard, love you hard. And so that's pretty much my philosophy on how I coach the O-line.
Yeah, Coach Cavanaugh does not want to see guys take it lying down. He is a physical, tough-minded kind of guy, and that's what he wants to see from his bigs. He is no nonsense.
There's Mike Cavanaugh.
He just looks like an O-line coach, doesn't he?
You know what? But it's not just Coach Riley. It seems like all these guys on his coaching staff smile a lot.
Well,
I realize it's spring. It's only April. But there's a lot of smiles.
I'm telling you, as a former guy that wants to win, I'm torn. I'm like, okay, yes, I know you're happy to be here, but I want to win. And then you sit down and you talk to them, and you're like, you know what? They're just good guys. They're just absolutely good guys.
Yeah, we had a chance to sit down with a couple of guys in the coaching staff yesterday, and it seemed like they were asking us as many questions as we were asking them. Real pleasant experience. 8 minutes remaining here in our first period. We'll have 4 20-minute periods, running clock. The clock will stop at timeouts, turnovers. Touchback. Second time we will see A.J. Bush and the White offense on the field.
Yeah, keep his composure here a little bit. You didn't get off to the kind of start you wanted to as an offensive unit, but the important thing for him is to not press. He understands press clippings. He can hear the murmurs, the whispers. He knows folks are expecting and hoping for good things. Plenty of time.
Mitch McCann in at the fullback spot. Monty Cross behind him as the I-back. Damon, how big of a deal? Obviously, Amir Abdullah was special, one of the all-time greats. But in terms of replacing him, how big of a deal is it going to be?
Well, that depends. It's kind of twofold. If you get a little bit better up front, you got a chance to not miss him near as much. But he was so talented and such a good back that he covered up for some deficiencies that would happen on offense. Oftentimes he'd make a guy miss a yard or two in the backfield before he got busy. With cleaner runs, you may not miss him as much, but a lot of it starts up front with the big ones.
Yeah, Abdullah was fun to watch. He didn't give up on a run ever.
He was spectacular every time he touched it.
A little bit off the mark. Pass intended for Tariq Allen, and well, Amir Abdullah still in town. This is before the game, and look at the line for autographs.
That's not to get super or anything else. That is to get a signature of some guys that fans think a lot of. Some real good ambassadors with Jay Mitch and A Squared and Kenny Bell.
Amir Abdullah.
How about that for the epitome of buttoned up?
What are we talking about with him? Second round, third round? What are you hearing?
I think he's the third running back off the board. I'm hoping second round.
Pass sails too high. Looked like maybe a little bit of nerves right now, looking for Tolbert.
Yeah, plenty of real estate, too, for Jariah Tolbert, who, as we talked with Coach Langsdorff yesterday, he's probably the one, he and Tariq Allen, that aren't like the others. The guy that they want to be that boundary X receiver that can work away from rolled coverage. he plays catch with Mr. Tolbert, he may very well still be running.
Are nerves an issue? Damon, you played in this game many times. Are nerves an issue when you're...
They are. I mean, they haven't been hit a ton this spring. He's just a pup. You got a ton of pressure from the fans are well aware of you. They know your shoe size. They know what classes you're going to. There's a lot of expected of these young men, but with time, it'll come. And what do you see? We see Sam Foltz talking to his unit up there. Do you know what he's saying? Don't make me go Robert Kokish on you again. Get down there and cover this guy. We know he's an award winner. He's a Jet Award winner, but lock him up.
Folt's going to come out again. Pearson L back deep. Feed him. That's going to let it roll dead. Johnny Rogers giving Pearson L a little bit of advice. Main gist of it,
I tell you,
never fair catch the football.
just roll it to him. Like hitting a 3-wood out of the sand. Just get that thing to skip along the ground if you can. I'd say he's a lot like, it's funny, you mentioned those two. Not only is he a Jet Award winner, but DPE, much like Johnny the Jet, had a knack for making punt returns in crucial situations. It wasn't, you're not up 30. A lot of his big returns were in times of need. You like guys that are clutch.
We had an opportunity to listen in to a Mike Riley-led meeting earlier this week. Let's take a look.
Danny, if you want to move the hashes, you can, but if not, just put the ball down. Well, let's go back to Skelly for just a minute, Brian. That's a non-contact Skelly, a shadow. Don't contest the balls. We don't want people going down in jumble. We want to practice the Skelly and the team like we'll end up doing in the pregame warm-up. Which we want to go fast, get some movement, and work your feet. Make it professional. Don't get to the point where it looks cool or you're loafing. Make it look good. Don't finish. And it's kind of like that fade drill we run when it's offensive emphasis. So
this is a whole new frontier for Mike Riley. Last couple of years out at Oregon State just simply didn't have the numbers that he has access to here in Lincoln. And his spring ball game was generally just a scrimmage and drills, and not used to actually having enough bodies that you could actually play a game.
Yeah, and we were kind of taken aback too. He was talking to us and he said, I've never had a 2 deep, let alone a 3 deep. And how about the equation he gave us when we asked him about the concept of the split practice, and he says, let me talk to you a little bit about numbers. 11 times 2 is 22. 22 times 2 is 44. I do that twice a day. I'm evaluating 88 guys. I'm bound to find guys that can play.
Yeah, talk to people about what you saw at practice. You said you went to about 9 of the 14 practices.
A lot
in
of
interesting fashion.
A lot of split practices. So you had one group that would go first, and then the next group would stagger out after. Not stagger as in literal like lollygag on out there, but would come out as a staggered start time. And they would practice special teams together in the middle. He wasn't used to giving that many bodies a chance to work, so it gave him a chance to evaluate on the fly.
Kieran Williams meeting Armstrong Jr. with some force.
Yeah, Kyron Williams, he's going to have a chance to contend for starting. We've saw that a lot. He's a guy that was a absolute nightmare in practice. He's big, he's rangy. He played special teams a year ago. He's extremely competitive too. He's going to have a chance to play for starting time.
Kyron Williams, Air Force prep, born in Shreveport, Louisiana. Looks the part, 6 feet, 185 pounds. Good form tackle, and it's going to force the punt team to come on.
Yeah, deceptively long arms for a guy that's not overly tall.
It's Chris Jones back deep to receive this punt.
Another talented returner.
Goes over the head of Jones and spins out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. Now Sam Foltz. Mike Riley talked about him, said, I've never been around a punter like this guy. He's got a chance to be elite.
Not only does he have a big leg, he's such a good athlete. He can throw a ball, he can run, he can catch, he can do it all. He's not your typical punter.
Well, don't tell that to Darren Erskine.
Yeah, I was just going to say, no offense to the guy that you were showcasing last night on the broadcast. No offense to D-Stat. He doesn't even look like a punter. Not that I know what a punter looks like.
Special teams actually is in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, with Coach Reed.
Yeah, right now you got a quality kicker in Fultz. You got a quality returning place kicker in Brown. Obviously, Pearson L. The return game. It's a lot to work with.
It is, and special teams has a chance to truly return to being specialists as opposed to just kicking game.
Bush, a little bit off the mark here. He has struggled with accuracy now in his first 3 possessions with that white side.
Yeah, the double sit down or the double hitch route, I think he was in between going to the inside or the outside. Receiver kind of threw it in the middle. Both guys running over 5-yard stops.
When does A.J. Bush need to be worried about his opportunities evaporating? How much do you expect him to play this afternoon?
This will go long into the scrimmage. They need a good hard look. And Coach Langsdorff hinted, the clock says 4 quarters, but it doesn't necessarily mean equal opportunities for my quarterbacks.
Jariah Tolbert catches that one. Tolbert's a guy who has stood out over the 14 spring practices.
Yeah, big rangy guy. I alluded to earlier. He and Tariq Allen, and maybe even a little bit of Lane Hovey, the guys, bigger, rangier receivers that can play that that boundary receiver that we talked about earlier. Going to get some single coverage.
Lane Hovey on the field right now. On 3rd down, going nowhere, is Mikhail Wilbon, kid out of Chicago. Wilbon has impressed over the last couple of weeks.
Big fan of his running style. He's a young guy. I know these guys at home are laughing at me. It's not just because he wears 21, but I just like the fact that he's constantly trying to get vertical. He's very good in small spaces. He's just a pup, so it'll come. And it doesn't help him that he's going against 2 monsters in the middle of that red defense.
Greg McMullen, a job well done. All right, we've got a little bit more information. I was incorrect moments ago when I was mentioning the GoPro. That is something that's been used by the coaching staff, but that little blue beanie just means that Fultz is technically on the white team right now, even though he is wearing a red jersey.
He and the snapper will both be designated with those.
But we will have some GoPro footage later on in the second half, we hope.
If they don't cover this guy soon enough, they'll be helping DPE GoPro.
Pearson L, the fair catch.
Rare. Listen, that's a win if you're Fultz. That's going to be a 39-yard net, 40-yard net. You'll take that number as well and no return. That's what you want when you're kicking to that guy in the wind. You blink and it's over.
So Tommy Armstrong Jr. is not coming out with the red side here to begin this drive. It's going to be Zach Darlington for the first time. Darlington, redshirt freshman from Apopka, Florida, was a big-time winner as a high school player, getting an opportunity, and he hands it off first chance he gets. Adam Taylor scored a touchdown a moment ago. He has the carry, and more than likely, that'll be the final play of period number 1.
That's almost stealing for this red offense to run the little backside play against this front. Your center's uncovered. Thurston will be allowed to pull. It'll almost be stealing if they choose to stay with this.
Well, we've made it through 1 period here from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. Tommy Armstrong Jr. and the Cornhuskers feeling their way under a new coaching staff. The second quarter will get underway in a moment.
How are you today?
How are you?
Good. Good. I'm going to have a Husker burger.
What about yours?
No, just a burger. Thank you very much.
I'm loving this weather, though. You just think you're back in Oregon.
I know. I'm getting blamed for it.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hey, it's just important that the sun comes out on Saturday, right?
I think it's supposed to be good. Yeah. Haven't you heard that?
Rain, but maybe later.
Oh, really? Yeah? Well, it's been. We just went 14 for 14 spring practices outdoors. That's the first time in my life.
Really?
Yeah. So.
You pushed it yesterday. It's a little nippy out.
Yeah, everybody was shaking their head, but you know what, actually.
Yeah, Mike Riley, did you notice how many people that he knew their first name. Kind of going up and down the line. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again.
Well, I tell you, around here they call him Nice Mike. Just very easygoing, laid back. Matter of fact, he was like that with us yesterday. Disarming is the word that I like to use when it comes to him. He's just easy breezy.
Well, one touchdown for the red side in period number 1. Adam Taylor trying to make an impression. Rambling in for a rushing score. And now Armstrong Jr. still sitting down, and we have another look at Darlington, whose pass is incomplete. What have you seen so far out of Zach Darlington in the 14 practices during the spring?
Well, if you're talking just mechanics, he has the best of the bunch. He's got the best footwork. He's got a great arm slot. He's the son of a quarterback coach. He's the son of a coach, period. So his football IQ is at a real high level. Maybe doesn't possess the physical tools that a Bush or Armstrong does in terms of size and arm strength, but from a purely looking like a quarterback, he's probably the best of the bunch.
What should we read into? I sit in the open field as it's a gain of just 5. Adam Taylor is brought down in a hurry. Tackle was made by Dedrick Young. Dedrick Young is a big deal. He is an incoming freshman, should actually still be in high school, but he is graduated early, matriculated here to Nebraska, and showing up good signs. He's one of 4 incoming freshmen who have gone through spring ball, all on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, he got here in January, and he's like the, what is that, Sesame Street? Which one of these is not like the others? He's a kid that does not look like a guy that should be going to prom.
Darlington, a little swing pass left side, and another completion, this time Jamal Turner with the grab. Jamal Turner last year was listed as part of that senior class, but had an injury, and he's getting a chance to do it all over again, and hopefully he will be healthy enough to go, because he's a guy who's been in the program, and Achilles is a difficult injury to come back from. Yeah, but he's a very useful player.
The final chapter hasn't been written in his career, but it has been one in which there's a lot of blank pages. So if you're Jamal Turner, you want a chance to fill in the writing here on your own.
3 receivers in the game. Darlington wants to throw again. Gets it to Turner. Second consecutive catch for the redshirt senior. Let's go down on the field and check in with Larry.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. I'm down here with Clete Blakeman, former Husker quarterback, back in the early to mid 1980s. That's called old school. You know that.
Hey, yeah, I hear that. That's right.
So you're down here with a lot of your former teammates. I mean, this has been a great reunion for a lot of you guys.
It is every year. This game, turns out to be the time where you get to see some fellas from the past that you really kind of lose touch with a little bit. So from all different eras, it's great. It's awesome.
So most people know you now. They see you on Sundays as the head of the officiating crew in NFL games. We see you all the time. Talk about that transition and how much you enjoy doing that now.
Well, it's become my life, actually. So I'm entering my 8th year in the NFL. But before that, I was doing the Big 12 conference, came up through Division I, and so officiating and football is really a big part of my life and my family's life. So I just come out here to be part of the atmosphere and enjoy the day, and get to see a lot of guys, number one, but also to come out here and support the team and the new staff and everything else. It's great.
Talk about that new staff and the future of this program under these guys.
Well, number one, I like the feel of it. I just have a sense that it's a more positive atmosphere for not only for the kids, but for the media, for the fans and everybody else. And not to put down the prior staff and everything else, but you can tell these guys are really, the new staff, really professionals, and they get it, and I think they can kind of correlate to a lot of the emotions that we have as former players and the fans have as fans. And so I'm really, really looking forward to this fall and having a new feel, pretty much a new feel in the stadium.
Interesting in your perspective on this, but it seems like there are a lot more former players down here for this spring game than we've seen in many years.
Well, yeah, and I think it's part of the new era. The new staff coming in, guys want to show that, hey, we're former players, we have a buy-in to this thing, and we want to be as supportive as possible. And so having a lot show up really is not surprising, and I think that's just part of Nebraska tradition. And once a Husker, always a Husker, right?
Appreciate it, Clete. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Larry. You bet.
Thanks, Larry. Wonderful stuff. And, well, Jamal Turner is pulling his hair out right now. Zach Darlington had an opportunity for a big play, and the pass just a little bit off the mark.
Yeah, look, he tries to square the shoulders. They're on the same page here. He gave him the little flick. and just overthrow him. That's a tough one on the run. But as we saw with the first couple of throws, while we had the split screen, his mechanics and his delivery give you the opportunity to be successful as a quarterback because he anticipates throws. And when you can anticipate a throw, you don't necessarily need the big arm in order to make it work.
In a Mike Riley offense, what type of quarterback does he want? You take a look at Oregon State the last couple of years, they've had some really big throwers, Sean Canfield, Sean Mannion, guys who don't look a lot like the quarterbacks that are currently on the roster here in Nebraska.
And throw more into that equation as well, another guy with a big arm. So I think first and foremost, it's like we talked with Coach Langsdorf, you'd like to start with accuracy. As long as guys can play catch, it's going to give you a chance. Now with that, you'll have the ability to get vertical. Do I want to throw the square ins? Do I want to throw the comebacks? That will come. But for the most part, you got to be able to play catch.
Well, which quarterback will we see now with the white team?
They're going over the game plan now. My money's on Riker Fife. We'll see what we got.
Coaching moment there. Adam Taylor having a word with Coach Riley. And we're going to see Riker Fife for the first time. So Fife takes over. Fife's been with the program for a while. Junior out of Grand Island, Nebraska. 4 for 10 a year ago with the touchdown.
It's a good job handling the snap, first of all.
What have you seen out of Riker Fife in spring practice?
Again, more of those good, polished mechanics. I think his biggest attribute is his competitiveness. Another sneaky good athlete, but his ability to compete is probably his best attribute because it's never enough for him. He's not willing to relent or to take a step back. He's a guy that wants to go get a job.
He's the only other quarterback that took snaps a year ago still with the team. Armstrong Jr. and Fife. So you'd think he'd have a leg up on some of the other quarterbacks, but there's also talent. We've already seen it with Bush and Darlington. Haven't seen Stanton so far this afternoon.
Might be a while for old Johnny Stanton. We'll see when he gets in.
Let's head down to the field again and check in with Larry. He's got to be the busiest man in Lincoln. Larry, what do you got?
Hey guys, welcome down here. I'm down here with Tony Ortiz, former Nebraska linebacker. You know, I think the story I remember about Tony is you came from the city. You came out here, you met some Nebraska guys, and you find yourself all of a sudden out on a farm. Tell that story.
I was riding. I went to Brian Shaw's house, Sandy Creek, Nebraska, after my first year. And he asked me to get on his horse. His horse's name was Black Beauty. And I don't know how to command horses, but I got on a horse. And he said, just go for a ride and just trot. So by trot, I guess he meant go 50 miles an hour. And I almost hit a tree, and I learned the word whoa, and to say it as fast and as commandful as I could. But the best time I had living on the farm, I got to ride all kind of trucks and all kind of equipment, so it was a great time for me.
And that's really what this Husker community has done. I mean, I see a lot of guys back this weekend. Talk about what that means to come back and support the new regime as a former Husker.
It means a lot to us as players. There's a lot of love for the university still. There's a lot of love for the players and new coaching staff. If you wear that in and you represent the university and you have the love of the former players, regardless of when we played or what era we were a part of, we're a part of your family. As long as you accept us, we accept you. We're here, but we want to make sure we see this program back to where it belongs, right? Back on the top of the cream of the crop, so that's why we're here.
You haven't been back on a horse since your college days.
I have not been back on a horse. Sorry, Brian.
Thanks so much, Larry. That's good stuff. It is amazing when you look around and the people who have come back. And I had a chance to come to the stadium 2.5 hours before this thing got underway, and just the sea of red and the amount of people who have made the pilgrimage here to get an opportunity to watch the Cornhuskers has been amazing and eye-opening to me. Pearson L tackled in the open field.
Yeah, another great punt. Fultz is such a weapon. That's why you get the sense, and there's this renewed energy. If Nebraska can take care of the football and stop the run, your kicking game that you've alluded to is intact. Good place kicker, great punter, good return game. If you can take care of the small things, you're going to be in every football game, and I think that's what the fans are clamoring for.
And last year, Cornhuskers given up 26 points per game. That was 9th best in the Big Ten. total defense, they gave up 383 yards per game. That was 8th best out of the 14 Big Ten teams.
Little leaky on the ground, I think, was ultimately what really...
Particularly the tail end of the season.
Yeah, you just got to be able to stop the run in the Big Ten to give yourself a chance. And that's what Nebraska's really going to try to zero on. That's why they want to be strong up the middle. That's why they're playing the type of defense that they are. You got the 2 big uns up front that are going to give you a chance to stop the run, and then you got to fit in the run game behind them.
And some of the guys that we're not seeing defensively today, just getting the day off just because they're banged up a little bit. No need to expose anyone. Nate Gary, he was a real revelation a year ago. Safety from South Dakota. He's getting the afternoon off, but he's expected to be, of course, a game changer once the fall rolls around.
Yeah, talented runner hitter, really a good study of the film situation, what happens on the field, and he's starting to play faster too. He's going to have a chance to be pretty good. Great throw right there.
Real good throw. Pass is complete. Darlington maybe getting a little bit more comfortable. Reimers with catch.
That's a 15-yard out that he throws with the flick of the wrist because he anticipates the break. It's on time, good hands catch. Not bad coverage either. Tight window, fit it in there, young man. Get him square the shoulders. That looks like a quarterback. Finish on balance, that a boy.
Reimer's one of those tight ends who's got an opportunity to step up in a role this year in this new offense. Sam Cotton now in, one of the tight ends, number 84 as per usual.
Conventional pro look here. 21 personnel.
Ball's loose. It'll stay with the red side. That was just a mishandled snap.
It's been a lot of pro sets. As we take a look at the replay here. Just pulled out a little too quick. Snap was there. Got to handle that one.
Now, center was an issue a year ago. 3 different guys started games at center for the Cornhuskers.
I'd really like to go see a guy win a job, whether it's Thurston, whether it's a healthy Ryan Reeves, a guy that can really patrol the middle to give you a chance to have some continuity.
Darlington's pass is complete. Another beautiful pass. This time, Ty Betzka.
Not sure what kind of shot we can get of that, but from our view, you watch him come open when the ball is in the air. That's what I'm talking about, anticipation. Over the wheel, in front of the corner. Good touch.
Betka 5'7", 165 pounds, but finding space.
I tell you, you deliver the football like that, you and I can make a few catches. That's on the money. Or maybe you.
Dylan Utter is the center. And it's a keeper. Darlington. Nifty.
I'll tell you exactly, what kind of made that work. Good sealing of the edge by the tight end. Gets the edge. And once Darlington hasn't been hit a ton, he said he kind of alluded to the fact he felt like an afterthought a little bit last year where he was kind of treated with kitty gloves, and I think the staff did a good job of protecting the fact that he was coming off such a serious concussion, but now he's got the fluorescent green light, and I think he feels good actually absorbing some contact.
Another designed rollout, man open in the end zone. It's Turner. It's a touchdown. Welcome back. Jamal Turner gets into the end zone. A beautiful drive showing the arm and the legs of Zach Darlington.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to stand by my comments. When Jamal Turner is focused and healthy and committed to playing football, he's as good as a receiver as there is in the Big Ten. Ability is not a problem with this young man.
And you know what? Zach Darlington probably went back to the bench and said, I owe you one.
Yeah, ZD.
Last possession, Turner was wide open, looked like it had a chance for an easy touchdown. Darlington missed him. I bet he went to the side and said, you know what? I'll get you back.
Now, we love all the kids, but in particular, Zach Darlington is an easy guy to treat. Heck of a success story, coming back after missing his senior year of concussions. Did not go through any contact last year, and to see him out here thriving is a beautiful story in the making.
And maybe this is an exclamation point to the comeback of Jamal Turner. We mentioned the Achilles injury of a year ago. That injury is always difficult to come back from, particularly when you're an explosive athlete on the edge like a receiver is.
You know,
Paul Turner looks pretty frisky out there right now.
Your Ritter's getting a little talking to on the sidelines, but what he saw was good success in the run game. So he sees zone action. He sits down as a safety, does not get help over the top. That's the way that play is designed. Got caught peeking in the backfield and getting beat over the top.
Before the kickoff, let's go back down to the field and check in with Larry.
Thanks very much, Eric. I'm down here with Shelly Zaborowski, who is the new executive director of the Nebraska Alumni Association. In fact, that just announced this week, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So tell me about the mission of the Nebraska Alumni Association.
Well, our mission is to engage students, alumni, and friends for the betterment of the university. We keep them connected through a series of events, programs, groups, because we know that alumni engagement ultimately leads to progress on campus.
So tell me about the size and how people go about becoming a member.
Sure. We have about 185,000 living alumni. We have about 25,000 paid members and 90 chapters and groups all across the country and around the world. And people can join as an annual or life member. Don't have to be an alumnus, just have to be a fan and a friend of the university.
You really work hard to put on events for alumni all across the world. 90 different chapters, I believe, right?
Right, we do. We have chapters all over the world, cheering on the Huskers, raising money for scholarships to send students to the university, and serving as ambassadors for us.
So what else do people need to know about the Nebraska Alumni Association?
Well, we'd love to have people get involved either through membership, or we have a lot of volunteer opportunities. We also have a travel program featuring both athletic travel and what we call adventure travel. And we have events. So we partner with our campus partners and our alumni chapters to hold events both here in Lincoln and all across the country.
Well, I can tell you, if you brought any sign-up forms in your back pocket, there's a whole bunch of guys here behind you who would be candidates for the Nebraska Alumni Association.
Well, good. I'll have to hit them up. But
thanks, Shelly. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Larry.
It's a former classmate of mine.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, she was Shelly Moses back then at the high school level.
On the return, Leroy Alexander brought down at the 26-yard line. Let's see which quarterback we will see. Last time the white team had the ball, it was Riker Fife, and it's still going to be Fife for this drive as well.
Can't tell you how surprised I am to see Janovich on a special teams tackle. I'm utterly shocked. That guy is something else. Usually whatever's moving and it stops moving, he's somewhere near the picture.
New coaching staff, how important is last year's film? Or do you just kind of go on what you see?
I think it gave you the initial baseline, but outside of that, I think they're over it. You know, they're still in their own evaluation process, and it's kind of like, you know, information that's out there. You'll go by what you hear to some degree, but you always like how people treat you. So I think in this case, they want their own firsthand account. White's got to get something going here, just to give yourself a little bit of confidence, if nothing else.
Fife. Line drive too high. He's looking for Tolbert. Big Ten Digital Network is now BTN Plus, available on BTN to go. Subscribe to BTN Plus and gain access to hundreds of non-televised games, then enjoy them on more platforms wherever you are. Get BTN Plus now, available on BTN to go.
I tell you, they're going to have to find a way to block 88 in red. Zuris is having a heck of a game thus far, getting after the passer.
On the run again. Fife's pass spills through the fingertips. He was looking for Brady Pelzer.
Yeah, Brady's got to find a way to make that play.
The coaching staff did mention that the depth at the receiver position was surprising. Coaching staff came in and didn't realize how deep it was in terms of guys who actually had a chance to play and be productive at this level.
Yeah, we got that piece of unsolicited information early. Coach Langsdorff, very high on his receiving corps. Felt like they, above all positions, might be the most impressive since he's been here. Has been 1 through, and they've gone through 12 at the wide receiving spot. He really likes that depth.
Sam Foles is going to kick it now to Jordan Westerkamp. Westerkamp, a rising junior, has already put up big numbers in his first 2 seasons.
We saw him in the lobby yesterday en route to meetings. He's looks a lot smaller than he's been in the past. He's looked very light. and seeing him in regular clothes yesterday. Little body transformation going on.
Westerkamp retreating over his head. Look at Fulton. Are you kidding me? Oh, my. That's going to be down at the 1-yard line.
He has, over the past year and a half, he has put himself in contention to be talked about amongst the best in the country. He will get paid to do this one day.
Now, the wind was at his back, but it's gauged beautifully. Allows his defense to go down and down it perfectly at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, good job by Luke Gifford, who, you know, and it's a good time to talk about, too, with Luke Gifford. How about the praise that was lauded his way yesterday by Coach Banker when he says, let me tell you about a guy. I got a guy. I don't care much about his size. If this guy gets a little bit stronger, look out for Luke Gifford. This kid can play.
Let's see how the offense worked that close to the goal line. Tommy Armstrong Jr.'s in, just because this is a unique circumstance. So the coaching staff wants to see how he deals backed up against the own goal line.
A deep set eye, too, from the 1-yard line.
Did you think that Armstrong Jr. was done for the afternoon?
Well, I thought it was too early. You know, you at least got to let him play through halftime is kind of what I thought. But here's the deal. This is that subliminal deal. You can't let the pup get off to the good start and have people with the rave reviews without having a chance for the veteran to answer the dinner bell.
Trying to get it out from the own goal line. Pass is complete. Good little catch with the left hand by Janovich. Let's head down to the field. Check in with Larry.
Hey, thanks. Down here with another former Husker. This is Steve Warren. Many Husker fans will remember him from the national championship days. Won a national title back in '97. Played from '96 through '99. So talk about what it's like to come back here and see many of your old teammates like Tony Ortiz and guys.
It's just a big happy reunion. You know, it's fun to get back and mess around with these guys. It's like being in the locker room again. Everything is like being in the locker room again. You can only imagine.
So you had a chance to hang around here for a few days. Talk about maybe the culture that you're feeling here within, you know, the sideline and within this team.
You know, it feels like, you know, the family's back. You know, the past couple of years there was a little divide, and people in one camp, people in another camp, and now it feels like it's becoming healed again. So it's good to feel that, being down on the sideline with the guys and seeing some of the old guys being back, and everybody wants to see this program get back. So we're excited for that.
You've actually got a kid that you work with and help develop out here on the field.
Yeah, Mick Stoltenberg, 44 in red. So I'm excited to see him play today. I've known him for a while, worked with him one-on-one through Warren Academy. So we're looking forward to seeing him do big things.
Talk about your foundation.
Oh, so Dream, yeah. So we got 500 kids that come through our program every day throughout the course of the year. A lot of the kids, you know, fall below the poverty line, and we're just trying to do our best to, you know, give them some positive exposure and get them around some positive people.
Now, when you came to Nebraska in your freshman year, there was a guy there who was a senior. He was a running back. You said even as a freshman, you knew that he talked a lot.
Oh, yeah. You know, but the only time I can talk to him now is either through TV or radio. That's the only time, you know, if I need to get a hold of him, I have to just call into the radio show or something. You know, he's big time now.
Yeah, we just call him DGB. He's a big deal.
Yeah, big deal. Big deal.
Those guys aren't telling the truth.
My partner, David Benning, getting a little razzing. I do want to ask you, Larry's talked to a whole bunch of guys down there. Doesn't it seem like all of these guys are still really fit?
Yeah, it's you were making fun of me for working out earlier this morning. It's quiet competitive, right? It's like you don't want to be that guy that says, I don't want you to look better than me, but you also don't want to be that guy to get talked about either. So it's like there's this internal deal that goes back and forth to kind of make sure that you stay fit. I don't know about Steve. That might have just been the camera angle. I don't know about Mr. Warren down there.
Clock is moving. Let's see what Fultz can do, kicking into the wind with his feet really close to the end line.
This is dangerous now.
We're ratcheting up the degree of difficulty right now for Sam Fultz because he's passed every test so far this afternoon.
Find a sideline.
Oh, my. Are you kidding me? It was a low kick. It's returnable, but still, that was in the air about 60 yards.
He's got a hammer.
Into the wind.
Yeah.
Into the wind.
He has got an absolute hammer.
He's about the only guy in Lincoln that hopes that the offense struggles a little bit in the fall, just so he can show off that leg.
Hey, no problem. I used to joke with Putney down on the sidelines. I don't know much about you, but he's used to those types of punts because he knows when he got married, he clearly outkicked his coverage.
Ah, jeez. A.J. Bush back in at the quarterback spot. Lefty has struggled passing the football so far, but he completes this one little short toss over the middle. Tariq Allen with the grab.
Good job by Bando, too. Staying at home. Good eye discipline.
And for Cornhusker fans, Josh Banderas, what? He's number 52. No, not this year. Apparently, he's going to wear number 25.
Yeah, he's contemplating staying with the number as well.
Josh Banderas has been around a while, always number 52. Now he is 25 in red, right in the middle of that defense. That linebacking core is work in progress. Guys coming back from injury. Banderas is hoping to lead the charge.
Yeah, Bush with a little pass. That's on the spot, too, to Lane Hovey. I really like him. He's got good size. He's got good athleticism. And they're allowing him to work in the slot. He's a big body. He's a 6'3", 205-pounder. He can move. Got some wiggle to his game.
Defensively, the big guys up front still on the field. Malik Collins, number 7 in red.
Remember what Coach Banker told us yesterday. They're going to get a good, long, extended look. This is not just a scrimmage. There's the head man. Welcome back, number 15, Michael Rose-Ivy. Been a very interesting spring for him. He's had to get in shape while he's playing football. That's typically not a good recipe for success, but he's such a veteran and he's so smart. He's able to manage his body as he comes back from the ACL.
Still with eligibility remaining, just going to be listed as a junior. Michael Rose-Ivy.
Moving over to playing the strong side now after patrolling the middle for so long. He's going to play over tight ends and bang on guys along the line of scrimmage. He's a heck of a football player.
Now an opportunity right now to open some eyes. 31 ticks remaining in our first half. A.J. Bush trying to lead a 2-minute drill. When you come from system to system, how different are 2-minute drills? Or are they kind of just standard issue every?
A lot of it is just terminology. You have your 3 or 4 pet plays and you run them in sequence, given whatever the verbiage is.
4th down and 2, and movement on the line.
Well, I tell you, let's turn a negative into a positive. Is that that's only the 2nd penalty I think we've seen on the bigs up front, and in a scrimmage. In live action, that's pretty good.
Looked to be number 77, David Neville.
Young man who oozes talent. If he continues to progress at this pace, not only does he have a chance to win a job at that right tackle
12
spot.
12 men on the field. 5-yard penalty.
He can be very good as we illegal participation.
12 defenders. So wipe away the false start on David Neville. Never happened. Touchdowns by Taylor and Turner for the red side here in the first half of today's game. Bush in trouble. Nifty feet. Good eyes, too. Catch made by Jariah Tolbert, who's had a good first half. The clock will stop. He's going to keep moving.
Take a look at the replay here. This is the athleticism that they rave about. The good poise in the pocket. And look, he's scrambling with his head up. Square shoulders, a nice touch. Well done, A.J. Bush. Look, head up. Not just scrambling to be scrambling. There's purpose there. Boy, is he big in the pocket.
And this is always the last thing you want to see when you come to a spring game, but there's a man down on the red side. It's Byerson Cockrell who's being looked at.
I believe it's Cockrell. He didn't feel good from the start. He was going to get up, then he took a knee. Then he was going to get up, then he took a knee. Don't want to play doctor up here, but he was going to make an attempt to walk off. Very responsive. I don't know if that was a ding or a shoulder. He originally gave me the impression that he got hit below the belt, but it's one of those where it's like, that really hurts, and I'm going to walk that off, and it's like, ooh, might be a little bit more deep set than I thought.
Maybe going straight into the locker room. He's on the red team, but he's going to the white side.
Yeah, the dangling of the arm and the Sully strap not fastened was what gave me the illusion that it could be a shoulder, so I'll stop speculating.
Bush looking for glory. Pass is picked off. Intercepted. That's Creighton Coley.
Bush was locked and loaded there, unfortunately, on his #1 target too long. Watch his eyes. Never looked him off, and that's too easy for a good safety. He's playing eyes, he's playing ball. Give me those. Nice play by Coley.
So the 2-minute drill ends. Interception by Coley. 7 ticks remaining in our first half. We're going to keep it here when we get to the halftime break. Going to get an opportunity to talk to Tom Dienhart, BTN.com senior writer, and he's got his finger on the pulse of all things spring football. Chance to ask him about his impressions of Mike Riley, the new coaching staff, what else is going around in other programs in the conference.
Mr. Big Ten. Get a chance to talk to him once a week on our morning show. He'd be a wealth of knowledge.
Dialed in.
You're in good hands.
Dialed in.
All things Big Ten, call my man TD.
Oh, don't do that during the regular season, Tommy Armstrong. Just took a knee in the end zone.
And they gave him a safety. No, hey, I don't think I could laugh that off. That is not good.
That's a bad mistake even in a spring game, but Mike Riley's still smiling.
That gets a WOW. Really?
So that's how the white team scores their only points here in the first half. A safety. Tommy Armstrong Jr. taking a knee in the end zone, just trying to kill the clock.
We'll pretend that we just didn't see that. And the rest of the 85,000 that are in attendance as well. And our television viewers.
Tommy Armstrong just
Kyron
discovered. There's your 2 points.
He gave him a gift. There's your 2, he says. Oh, do they have an agreement? There has to be something to that. I can't wait to get this story. He was a little too easy going about that. Is that a gentleman's agreement?
So we've reached halftime here at Memorial Stadium. Your big picture thoughts, what you saw so far through the first 40 minutes.
Well, I like the continuity given that there are only 15 practices in with a new system. A fairly decent pitch and catch and very few penalties up front. Those are the 2 things that you want to look at. We didn't get a turnover either until late, so it's a positive.
Mike Riley's going to grab a microphone and address the crowd here at halftime. The stadium in-house microphone is being adjusted right now, so we're working out that, but Mike Riley is getting ready to speak to the fans here at Memorial Stadium, and a good chunk of them have actually come onto the field right now for this experience.
Kids getting ready to take a drug-free pledge.
Firsthand,
long-standing tradition here at the Nebraska Spring Games.
We're proud to be here. We're proud to represent this university, the athletic department, the football team, and the whole state. We're excited about the opportunity at hand. Look forward to seeing you all in the future. Thanks for being here today. What a great day for Nebraska. Thank you very much. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Now we apologize. We had a bit of an issue with the in-house microphone here at Memorial Stadium. It's a spring game. Everything's kind of a work in progress. Come fall, it'll be ready to roll.
We better hope so. A well-oiled machine.
We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we have halftime festivities. We're going to talk to Tom Dienhart, BTN.com senior writer. This is a guy who knows what's going on around the conference. That and more when we come back. Halftime here, red, white,
night game in Lincoln, Nebraska. We played 40 minutes. We still have 40 minutes remaining. Joined now by Tom Dienhart. He is the BTN.com senior writer. And if you have any questions about what's going on football-wise in the conference basketball, he's got you covered. I want to ask you, Mike Riley, seems like everything has just been going smoothly on his watch. Your interaction with him so far in the first 4 months he's been in town, and your impressions?
Yeah, very affable. I got a chance to talk to him earlier this week, and I tell you what, Mike Riley is genuine. He really meets the world with an open hand. I tell you what, the one thing he stressed to me more than anything, he wants this to be a program of inclusion. He wants the last guy on the roster to feel as valuable as the first guy on the roster. That was something he told me Bear Bryant instilled in him when he was a player for Bear Bryant back in the 70s.
I think it's a wonderful story. He mentioned that to me when I had a chance to talk to him, and he's familiar with huge rosters of what he had back in the 70s playing for Alabama and Bear Bryant. He's going to have a huge roster here with all the walk-ons and the tradition here at Nebraska.
Exactly.
In terms of challenges, though, it's not always going to be a cakewalk for Mike Riley and his staff. What will be the challenges getting ready for this year?
He's got some challenges personnel-wise, obviously. The offensive line is very much a work in progress. He's got a solid left tackle in Alex Lewis, but again, a lot of questions dot that line. The linebacking core is a big issue. They need to work on some depth there. And then I think keep an eye on the quarterback spot today. We've seen some good things and some bad things. Tommy Armstrong's the guy without a doubt. But again, I think he's under pressure to adapt to this pro-style offense.
In terms of storylines as we head into the summer, in terms of guys and positions of import that need to improve or are already pretty strong, what are you looking at right now for Nebraska?
Well, Nebraska, let's see how the running backs continue to develop. They have some good answers in Amani Cross. Obviously, Adam Taylor's done some good things as well. But Amir Abdullah leaves some big shoes to fill in Lincoln, Nebraska. Wide receiving core, of course, Kenny Bell is gone. I like the depth they have here as well. Jordan Westerkamp, DeMornay Pearson-L, they've got some nice building blocks there. Guys who can make plays down the field. And then, defensively, who's going to rush the passer? Is there a Randy Gregory on this roster? Probably not. They may have to blitz more to get consistent pass rush. But again, who's going to step up at defensive end for this team?
And I want to get one big picture question from you. You've been around, you've seen a lot of spring games, you've been to a ton of practices. What have you noticed around the conference? Actually, I want to ask you specifically about Michigan. You were up in Michigan a couple of weeks ago. What have you noticed about Jim Harbaugh and his guys?
Yeah, got a chance to go to Ann Arbor last week. 60,000 people in the big house. Everybody's excited about the Harbaugh era with good measure, good reason. He's really brought a lot of excitement and energy there. He's brought a swagger that they need. I think Michigan's a team that can win 7 or 8 games next year, Eric. Questions offensively for them, of course, quarterback. Jake Rudock's going to arrive from Iowa as a transfer. He should help that position. I think the defense is very good. They can win some ball games with that D. But again, that Big Ten East, it's so tough when you got Michigan State, you got Ohio State, you got James Franklin at Penn State. So it's a big mountain to climb in the Big Ten East. But Harbaugh's brought swagger to Ann Arbor, and he's going to continue to bring talent there as well.
Tom Dienhart, thank you so much for your expertise. Love talking football in the spring.
Likewise, likewise.
All right, it's halftime here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Don't go anywhere. We will continue the red-white experience here in Lincoln. Love Nebraska? Make it official. Join the Nebraska Alumni Association today at huskeralum.org. That was before the game, the Brooke Behringer Citizenship Award. A lot of really wonderful, noble people getting honored before the game, and all smiles, and why not? Brooke Behringer, a legend in Nebraska football lore.
Yeah, number 18, rocking right next to me. Super guy. Good player, better person.
Middle of your screen, Mike Riley. He had a special week. He had a visitor come in. His former Oregon State quarterback, Sean Mannion, was here for the last couple of days. We had a chance to watch their interaction.
I know, like, one thing that everyone's been saying, especially about, like, your rookie years, it's like the longest year of your life because you play a full season in college and then you have a full off season at the combine and all that stuff.
Yeah, you started right away, right?
Right, and then you have your full rookie year, so really it's like you're playing football for like 18 months straight. I know, like Jordan was saying, Blake Bortles' arm by the end of the year, he said it was just hanging.
Really?
And he was, he threw a ton of stuff.
Pretty cool that Sean Mannion would follow his former head coach all the way here to Lincoln. Let's go down to the field and check in with Larry Putnam.
Yeah, you know, Eric, he's he holds 18 different passing records at Oregon State, does Sean Mannion, and here he is 2 weeks away from maybe one of the biggest days in his life, the NFL draft, where he's projected to be maybe a 4th, 5th rounder. Some have him going as high as 3rd, but he takes time out to come to Lincoln, Nebraska to visit his former head coach, Mike Riley. Many people say that that speaks volumes to the type of coach that Mike Riley is, the type of relationship that he creates with his players. I just moments ago chatted with another of his former players down here wearing Oregon State Beaver attire, and he said, "Where's Coach Riley? I need to talk to him. He doesn't even know I'm here." That kind of relationship that Riley creates with his players.
Wow, that's good stuff, Larry. Someone using money out of their own pocket to come to Lincoln, Nebraska and support his former coach. Good stuff. We'll take another quick timeout. We come back, we'll get our second half underway here in Lincoln. Don't put the football to that man, Johnny Rodgers. He can still take it to the house on you. Heisman Trophy Award winner Johnny Rodgers, always closely associated with the program, was at practice last couple of weeks, had conversations with Pearson L. His advice, never there, catch the football. Don't do it.
Yeah, Johnny is something else. You get his best and you get whatever he's thinking. He's the consummate Nebraska ambassador. How about that gear? Would you borrow one of those coats?
That's pretty cool.
Like that?
That actually may be his official Letterman's jacket from the early 70s.
Could you rock that in Eastern Cleveland? Would they allow that?
No doubt about it. I tell people that it's Johnny Rodgers, and I'd be lauded for that. Getting ready to start our second half. The guys making that trip through the tunnel once again. We will have second half play from Memorial Stadium when we return. Well, we just said everyone wants a picture of Johnny Rodgers. That includes Mike Riley, a new head coach for the Cornhuskers, mugging for the camera with a Heisman Trophy Award winner.
Johnny looks like he just turned about 41. I don't know if it's the antioxidants. Is it the prune juice? Is it the cranberry juice? Johnny just stays so tight.
How many pictures do you have in your collection with Johnny Rodgers?
That's funny you should ask. I have one.
Only one.
But it's my kiddos. He made them do the proverbial Heisman pose. And it is an absolute doozy. So he takes good care of him. He usually makes it. That's Rich Glover right there. I mean, that's the guy.
Oh, sure.
That's the legend.
And look at that. We're talking about all these guys who are still in shape. Yeah, Glover looks tough.
Glover, well, you had to be playing D-line at like 220. He's a big guy back then. So just a lot of the former guys. Jamie Williams there, Johnny Rodgers, Zach Bowman.
When are things going to get difficult for Mike Riley? Obviously, being a head coach in the Big Ten. Yeah, it's not an easy job.
No.
Very few men in this world can do it. But Mike Riley right now has been operating with a smile. When do things get really serious for him?
Well, I tell you, if Nebraska's got to play in such a way early on, and you got to get the opener. You're at home, and it has to be something that you can accomplish.
And September 5, it all gets started in earnest. Right here at Memorial Stadium, the Cougars of Brigham Young will meet against Nebraska for the first time in each school's history. It's surprising to me that BYU and Nebraska have never met on a football field.
Yeah, well, and I'm really surprised considering BYU appears to be taking on all comers. Their schedule is a gauntlet. They have not been afraid to schedule, and they're going to open up in Lincoln on the road. Tough sledding, but a very tricky opener, especially if Taysom Hill is healthy.
I like the scheduling this year for Nebraska in the non-conference. You've got BYU, you got South Alabama, then on the road against Miami, and then home again against Southern Mississippi for the homecoming game before the Big Ten slate starts. Yeah, A.J. Bush still in the game at quarterback for the White Sox.
He needs reps, and they roll him out early, trying to get him out of the pocket with a little bit of his athleticism, and is still having a hard time finding the market. And it's kind of what we've heard. Tremendous athlete, very good upside, high ceiling, but still trying to become polished as a passer.
Mikhail Wilbon, kid out of Chicago, has the football, shows some good zuzu, gets into the second level, and look at Wilbon go. Finally pushed out of bounds, but his most impressive run. This kid is shifty. Coaching staff thinks he's got a chance to be real good.
Take a look at the 1 foot in the ground, back vertical. That's what I like. He's very good in small spaces. He just needs a little confidence. He dealt guys fits on the scout team last year. But look at him always looking for vertical daylight. A little shake and bake, shaking up. Malik Collins, that's Vincent Valentine still looking for Mikhail Wilbon in the backfield. You blink, he'll miss you.
Wilbon still in the game, and they give it to him again, and this time has to be patient to get his 2, maybe 3 yards. All right, take a look at the schedule. This is the non-conference portion. You got BYU and South Alabama here at home, and then a road game against Miami down in Coral Gables.
Yeah, it's tricky. You got spread. Then you get Brad Cayenne. Who knows what you're going to get from Southern Miss, but a healthy Taysom Hill deals you fit. South Alabama will spread you all over the place. It'll be interesting to see how Coach Banker wants to attack those 2 opponents.
Now, the conference schedule is also interesting as well. With 14 teams now in the Big Ten, you're going to miss some teams on the other side. And this year, Nebraska is going to miss Ohio State. They're going to miss Penn State. And they're not going to play Jim Harbaugh's Michigan Wolverines. These are the 8 conference games that they have lined up.
That's that unintended consequence of getting a schedule that does not include Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State for Coach Riley. The pressure is low-key ramped up knowing you got your toughies at home.
New runner in the game. This is Jordan Nelson. Bush wants to throw, gets swarmed and brought down. There is a flag down. But good penetration to get inside and bring him down.
And meet you at the quarterback. We're probably going to get a hold there. The guard-center guard combo had a little collapse going on.
Personal foul. Illegal helmet contact.
Right in the midst
defense
of that penetration.
Number 95. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Called it on Jack Ganglish.
Yeah, and what happened was he felt like he was being grabbed. So on the initial pass rush, you see the open hand come right underneath the face mask. There it is. He straightens that arm out, and there goes the helmet. Easy call right there.
Ganglish expected to be one of the starters at end. There's big Malik Collins. I wonder about the lack of knee pads. He's got those pants hiked up to mid-thigh. That can't be a lot of fun.
He's a terror. You getting anywhere near there?
And it continues with a tradition of wrestlers turned defensive linemen at Nebraska. Bush wants to throw. Give me a scouting report on what you've seen out of A.J. Bush. We don't have a 2 deep. It hasn't been released by the coaching staff, but it's thought that Bush would be the number 2.
I think, yep, going in, that was kind of the illusion we got that if a game started tomorrow, it would be between he and Fife. We knew that Darlington was on the come, but we wanted to see today. If I'm Bush, it's 2 things. Number 1, it's my footwork. My hips and my feet will take me to the football. And he's got that long delivery. There's a lot of room for error the more things that you have happen on the release.
Catch is made by Lane Hovey. And the drive continues for the white team. Let's head down to Larry. Larry Putney, what's going on?
Hey, thanks, Eric. Down here with former Husker quarterback Jamal Lord. Many people remember Jamal from that phenomenal game down at Texas A&M. I don't know, do you have the best memory
of the A&M game? Or just winning. That was a rough season for us, you know what I mean? And to come out with that game on the road in the hostile environment, it was a great victory for the Huskers back. What was that, 0-2? Yeah, it was a good game for the Huskers.
Jamal, what are you up to now?
Right now, I'm in North Dakota. I'm working in the oil fields up there, you know what I mean? It's a job. I'm working, so staying busy, staying healthy at the same time, so yeah.
So why was it important for you to come back here?
Well, I'm a Husker fan. I'm a Husker fan. This is, I mean, this is family. This is our family, and you can't get rid of family. You don't get rid of family, so I show my support for Coach Riley and the team.
Jamal, great to see you again.
Good to see you too, so y'all be safe.
Had one of the great rushing years ever for a Nebraska quarterback, Jamal Lord.
He was quicksilver, no doubt about that. Good to see Jamal Lord back. And nice catch made there by Tariq Allen.
Yeah, the guy that we wanted to spotlight before the game started in Tariq Allen. But I'll say this quickly about Jamal Lord. Perhaps the most underappreciated quarterback to ever take snaps at the University of Nebraska. He is an interception away from being held in much higher regard if he closes out that game against Texas. It was arguably the single best performance that any quarterback had to that point at the University of Nebraska. Very underappreciated.
Now, this is the best drive for the white side, and it's good news for A.J. Bush. He sputtered a bit in the first half,
maybe a little bit more comfortable with the butterflies here in the second half. And Bush wiggles down to the 6-yard line.
I tell you one thing, if you want to be critical thus far of what the Red defense has been able to do, I think fitness is going to be something that they can attack and be aggressive with as they head into fall camp. Getting in football shape. Now you figured out how to go through winter conditioning, how you want to practice. Now is the next step. How finely conditioned can you be?
Josh Banderas wearing number 25 today. Had been number 52 in years past. He's the middle backer. Third down and a flag comes down. It's going to go against the offense.
And that's Neville. That's his
Number
second
77, 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
There are things that can keep you from playing. It is mental errors. Those are what we call unforced errors for those of you that like to swing a racket.
Neville is 6'9", 310 pounds.
A tremendous frame. You can do a lot with that. You can't coach
piece
that.
Of play. Oh, yeah.
Watch Tolbert at the top of the screen here. Single coverage in a big body.
Looking that way. And the pass juggled and dropped. How'd you know that Jeriah Tolbert was the guy who was going to be in the crosshair?
Good angle. He's a favorite of A.J. Bush. I've seen them work this play in practice. He's got to get that ball a little higher, give his guy a chance to make a play. See, we talk about the footwork. He threw that almost flat foot. He kind of just flicked it with his wrist. Give yourself a chance with some velocity if you step into the throw.
Pretty good instincts and ball skills there, Trey Mosley.
Yeah, he's
was the defender in coverage.
This guy has been like, they ought to get him for grand larceny as much as he's been robbing passes this spring.
Fourth down opportunity for Bush. Wants to run a bit. Maybe not a great decision to try and get it in there instead of throwing the football, and it'll be turned over on downs. Jonathan Rose in the mix.
Gangwish has been an absolute nightmare. Look at his pads. They still don't fit right. That's from being grabbed. He has been relentless today. Get Coley on the spot again. Cleaning it up. Nebraska hustling to the football a little bit.
Damon, of all the guys that are not playing today, the guys who we haven't called because of injuries that banged up a little bit, guys like Ethan Carter at tight end, or Charles Jackson, one of the DBs, Daniel Davey, one of the corners, Nate Gary, safety, banged up, not playing. Anyone that we're not seeing today that you feel has got a chance to be much improved come fall?
All four of those guys could start. You had Ethan Carter to that mix, and Zach Sterup. Zach Sterup is the guy that you didn't mention that's not playing, that has, not only is he playing for a job, but I think his room for improvement is pretty great. He's a starter from a year ago. I think folks would like to see him solidify that spot. And maybe even a Ryan Reeves as well. They've got some quality guys. But if you go through that laundry list that aren't taking snaps today, that can help you contribute in the fall.
Adam Taylor with that carry. You've seen a lot of Adam Taylor score a touchdown in our first period. I know there's no too deep out, no depth chart, but where would you put the hierarchy of running backs looking to replace Amir Abdullah? Give me your top 3 or 4 right now from what you've seen in spring practice.
As we see Pearson now crease one on the little fly sweep. Nice to see them go back to that. For me, if I had to start the game tomorrow, I'm going with Newby,
Terrell Newby,
then Taylor, then Wilbon.
You did my Cross.
Cross.
Really? So Cross is 4.
And it's not an indictment necessarily as much as I think I have an idea of what Nebraska wants to do offensively, and so I think I would start in that order.
Jamal Turner back on the field. He's the man in motion, top of your screen. Turner coming back from a significant injury a year ago. He impressed in the first half. Westerkamp in motion, and the give to Taylor. Well, lest we forget, Amir Abdullah, one of the greatest to ever play for the Cornhuskers.
Take a look at the things that made him great. Tremendous balance and a whole lot of want to. When you combine that with talent, you get A squared.
You see those highlights, but to me, one of the smaller things that he did was one of the biggest things in program history, for one of the biggest plays in program history. The Jordan Westerkamp catch, the Hail Mary, a little bit too long looking for Riley.
that was set up. The game against Northwestern on this field 2 years ago, it was set up. Amir Abdullah refused to go down. If he's tackled, the game's over, but he refused to go down, fought for the first down, and that allowed Kellogg to find Westerkamp on the Hail Mary. But Abdullah's work and his guts and his want-to kept the game alive.
He's the guy that you don't want to play with if you're an opponent. You want to play with if you're a teammate. He's got great athleticism, but his want-to. If you play against that guy, you know he's not playing until you hear that final whistle.
It's going to be interesting come fall. Talk about running backs in the conference. Last year was such a great year with guys like Coleman at Indiana, and Ohio State Ezekiel Elliott, Abdullah, of course, just wonderful players. Actually, it was Ezekiel Elliott at Ohio State was probably the guy who was under the radar until the postseason.
You know, you got Minnesota. David Cobb was a tough tailback. Melvin Gordon was a great tailback. All those guys are like top 4-round type tailbacks. And it was a conference that helped restore order. We heard all the rhetoric. Well, until you get a big-time quarterback, that conference isn't going to be relevant. The Big Ten, continuing to be the Big Ten, did it with running backs. Didn't matter who played quarterback if you're at Ohio State.
We still have 8:37 remaining in our third period. The clock is stopped temporarily.
Yeah, right there.
You know, we're not all football all the time. How about this? From the diamond to the field and everywhere else in between, we keep you up to date on all the happenings in the conference this week in the Big Ten. It's tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern on BTN. Baseball had been growing real well here in Lincoln until last night. John Anderson's Minnesota Golden Gophers rolling over to Hawks Field and taking down Darren Erstad's bunch. Bit of a surprise considering the Gophers having a down start to the year. Nebraska baseball had been going great guns until the last week and a half.
It hadn't been able to get anybody out. That pitching staff hadn't had a pulse in Minnesota. And all of a sudden they find a way to win a low-scoring baseball game, which isn't the way that you thought Nebraska could lose. Really needed a big win. I feel like they need to get the brooms out this weekend.
Good pitching catch. Is that Hovey?
It is. There's that guy. Big boy arm from A.J. Bush as well. Can make all the throws. Watch the mechanics here on this one. Step, drive, deliver. It's finished on balance, and it's no coincidence. It's an accurate throw.
Hovey's been a big play type of guy in spring practice. Picks up a big chunk of yards. He can get deep on you.
He's a big boy. Great zone runner right here.
Jordan Nelson scoots to the outside.
Well aware
now, but I'm telling you, this Whiteside has been the most impressive offensively here in the second half.
We're very familiar with Jordan Nelson, from an Omaha Burke product, a local kid, coached against him, got a chance to watch him grow up. His brother is a quarterback for me at Omaha North. He can move. He's got great vision and subtle quickness. He's one great big muscle, so he's had a hard time with pulls and groin injuries, but he's a very gifted runner, especially in the zone game.
Another chance for Nelson, this time not nearly as productive.
Jordan Nelson, the ball carrier.
Those big guys still in the game. Greg McMullen, part of that tackle.
It's kind of been a weird spring game too with the tailbacks. Guys like Graham Nabity, we've only seen in flashes, and we've seen what a good spring he was having. Newbie with the brief appearance early, haven't seen much late. Hard to get into a rhythm with all these tailbacks. They got tremendous depth.
Gangwish, Valentine, McMullen. All on the floor, on the field right now with Malik Collins. Obviously, you want to get guys reps, but you also want to keep guys healthy. Are you surprised that these guys are going to be counted on that front wall defensively? Mike Riley's playing them so far through the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, and we kind of got that sense, didn't we? Coach Banker was almost offended when we said, hey, you know what? Who we need to be watching after we see the big guys, and he's to say they're going to play now. We haven't had a lot of live work. We need to get a good look at these guys with live, with a lot of live bodies, and we're like, huh, all right, let the big fellas play.
How do you see the linebacking spot shaking out when we get to the fall? Obviously, we know Banderas is going to be there. Oh, almost a pick six. Good break on the ball by Jonathan Rose, who's flashed here this afternoon.
And he was unsolicited. His name was referenced yesterday as a guy that if he's ready to play, they expect big things from him. Top talent. With that linebacking core, I think you got a 5-man rotation. It'll be Bando in the middle. It'll be Rose Ivy playing the Sam, and it'll be some combination of Newby and Dedrick Young that I think will patrol that.
Dedrick Young is the guy who is just coming in as a freshman.
Yes, I think he's going to have a chance to play. Going to have a chance to play.
We've talked so much about the offense and the different philosophy brought in by the new coaching staff. Great pressure from both ends. McMullen, Valentine meeting at the quarterback. Defensively, how different are the concepts going to be for what this new coaching staff was implementing from what we've seen in years past?
Well, we take a look at the laundry list of new coaches. Coach Banker broke it down yesterday, teaching guys now to get vertical and to be aggressive. 2 reads. If their head gets down, you get down. You read the V of the neck. If not, stop the run, making the play en route to the quarterback, which is vastly different from a lot of the D-line play that we've seen the past couple of years, where they played a lot more on the line of scrimmage. He wants to get back to being aggressive and getting vertical.
Well, let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Here is Coach Banker talking about his defensive philosophy.
You know, we've been more of a pressure team. Rather than sit back on your heels, being on the defensive, I think you know, a lot of players like that. Again, philosophically, you know, teach more about an opponent's offense as opposed to just your defense. We want to make ours fairly fundamental, rudimentary, so the players aren't so much thinking about what they have to do responsibility-wise as opposed to react what they see on the offensive side, and that's why we want to, you know, teach the offensive scheme to them so that they can have a jump when the ball's finally snapped.
Good stuff. That pitch and catch. Armstrong finding Sam Cotton. Cotton having just 3 catches a year ago. That'll probably change this year. The tight end is going to be an important part of the offense in this year's scheme.
They like Janovich in that hybrid H-back role. They like Cotton. They like Carter. They like McNitt. They like Foster. That's 6.
Touchdown for the Red Sides. DeMornay, Pearson, L. Once he broke that first tackle, no chance anyone's going to catch up to him.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Joshua Kalu, who's trying to make that play in space, but that's arguably the best guy in the country in space in DPE. The out route delivered on time. Easy pitch and catch. See you 6 later. Coming out of the break, there's the catch. You gamble as a DB, you better come up 7 or 11.
3rd touchdown for the Red Side. Taylor, Turner, and now Pearson L. 4:36 remaining in our 3rd period. Chance for everyone to catch their breath a little bit. The offense for both sides improving here in the 2nd half. Love Nebraska, make it official. Join the Nebraska Alumni Association today at huskeralum.org. 3rd touchdown scored by the Red Side just a moment ago. We've had touchdowns by Adam Taylor, Jamal Turner just a moment ago. Pearson L scoring a touchdown. The only score for the White Side. It's kind of a kooky play. Final play of the first half. Tommy Armstrong took a knee in his own end zone. A safety.
Still trying to, I hope he has a good story for that, because as much chuckling and laughing and joking as he was doing with Kyron Williams about it, you get the sense it was planned, but for what reason? That was Dylan Utter jumping off sides.
Got some numbers now on A.J. Bush. 10 out of 19. 99 yards. Of course, no touchdown. And he's thrown an interception.
Yeah.
Inside run.
That's a nice fit right there by Josh Banderas.
Austin Rose brought down by Banderas. Wearing number.
Boy, he gets full side flow, plays the cutback lane nicely, then makes the nice open field tackle. That's an outstanding play. Doesn't show flashy on the highlights, but technically very sound.
Nice throw. Beautiful touch. And a completion down the right sideline. Kevin Gladney with his first catch.
Look at these mechanics here. Step, deliver, follow through. Bingo. He can see it. He knows what to do. It's can the muscle memory get me there? That's a big boy throw right there. With him, it will be the repetitive reps. What does it feel like to have good mechanics that will allow me to make the type of throws I need to make in this offense? Physically, he's capable of making everything.
Let's head down to Larry, who's standing by with head coach Mike Riley.
Well, Coach, I know it's difficult to evaluate from the field, but what have you seen today that encourages you?
Well, until just recently here, it was pretty clean. You know, procedurally it was pretty clean, and playing football was pretty clean, and there's been some intermittent good plays. But it looks like football, and guys are competing, so, you know, and it's a real mixed bag of how the competition's going, so I like it. I like that part of it.
And you really haven't had live scrimmages much at all this spring camp, so really a first opportunity for you to get a look and for the players as well.
Yeah, this is perfect. You've got the big, you know, the big setting here with all the people. You got the guys after 14 days of practicing, you know, going on the stage and having to control their emotions and make some plays. Really good stuff for them, I think. So we've had intermittent live periods, but nothing that is close to what we've done today, scrimmage-wise.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Larry. Great job down there. Weather is cooperating for Larry Putney. It could be raining sideways and 35 degrees, but it's not. And 68 and sunny all afternoon long.
Nice weather couldn't happen to a nicer guy as I plant my tongue firmly in my chin.
Oh, another wonderful break on the football, and that'll be an interception. We're coming the other way. Trey Mosley continues to have a nose for the football, and that's the second interception thrown by Bush.
And probably his 7th or 8th of the spring. He has been, they ought to get him for grand larceny. There's a lot of stealing going on. Give me that here. Great break on the ball. Too easy a play for that sound and that good of defensive corner. You got to anticipate getting that out in front if that's where you want to go with the football. Got to drive it. That's not a touch pass.
So the learning curve.
But that's it in a nutshell. That's no disrespect to that young man, but that's kind of what we've heard. He'll show you flashes of brilliance, but it's the consistency that we're after as he gets a little bit of the talking to from Coach Langsdorff. And what he's saying, you can read his lips. If you're going to make that play, that's one that you anticipate delivering. You got to commit to it.
Coach
Going to play
Langsdorff
catch with him on the spot right there.
Coach Danny Langsdorff, of course, has been with Mike Riley for a long period, but he was not with him last year at Oregon State. Had an opportunity to work with the New York Giants and Eli Manning in that quarterback room.
Yeah, you got the sense in talking to him. He was quite cool, wasn't he? He was like one of those cool kids on the block that knew a ridiculous amount of football. Those are the guys that I like to try to associate myself with. Hopefully something cool can rub off on me. But if you can deal with Manning in New York's environment, you get the sense that he can handle the quarterback battle here in Lincoln.
And part of that quarterback battle, Zach Darlington. He's in the game right now, leading the red side.
I think his arm got hit there. He anticipated the throw. I think they got him on his delivery. He saw that open. Knew right where he wanted to go with that football. I don't believe that one was an arm strength issue.
Yep.
Got him right on the follow through. That's a good job of being relentless on the pass rush.
Joel Lopez got the penetration. Darlington looks comfortable in the pocket.
Hey, how smart is that? I look front side, I check middle to intermediate, I go backside, just all in sequential succession. That's how you like to see the quarterback spot play.
Actually, one of the first things that we were told by the coaching staff was the check down was actually something that was a bit of an issue so far in spring ball. Guys were looking to try and make the play down the field, but if it wasn't there, having a hard time hitting the check down route.
Yeah, just very little panic. How about The beautiful thing about that as you're watching him go through these progressions is the mechanics didn't suffer. The foot tap, foot tap, foot tap, staying rhythmic just like they teach you in quarterback camp.
Inside run. This is Graham Nabity. Nabity's played real good football over the last couple of weeks. Coaching staff, both Langsdorff and the head coach Riley, mentioning him by name the way that he's been playing.
Yeah, what did Coach Langsdorff tell us yesterday? He said he's not real fast, but he's a hammer, he's consistent, and he's slippery in small spaces.
Now go Big Red. 3 quarters in the books here. We still have 20 more minutes of football. A lot of discovery still to be made here in Lincoln, Nebraska. The red-white game. We'll have quarter number 4 when we come back.
You get that small jersey? I know you got that big now.
I got that for you. I got it.
Let's go. How we doing? Good. Nice to meet your girlfriend.
Oh, yeah?
Seemed like a nice girl.
Oh, yeah, she's good.
What's she doing with a guy like you? Jared, you feeling good?
Yeah. How you doing, Coach?
Great.
Good. Feeling great.
Enjoyed working with you. Appreciate how you came back.
Thank you.
That was awesome. We're just thankful to be here, and we're going to make it good. We're going to make it good. Thanks, Scott. Okay, go get him.
He makes a point of mentioning everyone by their first name, and that's something that is a skill, and it's appreciated. Let me tell you that. Mike Riley is making friends by the bushel here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Darlington still in at the quarterback. Does a great job of waiting for the route to develop, and just a tough chance. Luke McNitt, one of those tight ends looking for action.